Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, thanks a lot for joining us, and if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for always coming back. It actually means a lot to me, and you guys need to see the big smile on my face when I get a notification that somebody subscribed. So I want you guys to know that I do not take any single subscriber for granted. So thank you so much for watching my videos, for subscribing to my channel, and for always staying here. So in today's video, we're going to be making a 4-tier skirt. So I'm actually making it for a friend, but she doesn't mind me filming the process, and she also doesn't mind me testing it on. So I'm going to test it on when we are done, just to show you guys what it looks like. It won't be a perfect fit because we are not the same size, but you guys will get an idea of what it looks like. So this is the skirt here. It is a very short skirt. Yes, it is very short, and I'm using this lovely fabric. So I like to take down notes when before I start making an outfit, just to take down notes of like the key points and basically the key details and how I plan on going about making that outfit. It just makes my life easier. Yes, so we're going to have a 1.5 inch band for this skirt, because you guys can see the band is quite thick, but I think 2 inches will be too wide. I don't know, I have something against 2-inch bands. I just feel like it's too big, so 1.5 inch is just perfect. Then the skirt is going to be 15 inches long, so plus the band is going to make it 16.5 inches long. So the first layer is going to be 3 inches, and the remaining layers will be 4 inches, because if you guys can see, the first layer looks shorter than the other layers. So I decided to just make the remaining 3 layers 4 inches, and the first layer will be 3 inches. So I'm going to be cutting this skirt in a way that will save fabric, so trust me, you want to watch this tutorial. So I will show you how to actually make this skirt in such a way that you wouldn't waste so much fabric, or not waste, you wouldn't use so much fabric, because this fabric is so lovely and I want to get the most out of it. So yes, I'm going to be making this skirt in such a way that we don't waste so much fabric. So yes, enough of the talking, and let's start doing. Let's get right into this tutorial. I also forgot to mention that I will be having a short inside this skirt, but I already made a short for her. I made a play suit for her, so I'll be using the short pattern that I cut to just cut a very short inside the skirt, like 12 inches, just to make sure that, you know, if the wind does blow a skirt up, our butt will be protected. Basically, I'm trying to cover her up by all means necessary. So to start, I drafted like a miniature version of the skirt, but this isn't necessary. You can just, this is just me being extra. Anyway, so basically I'm going to cut my lining up to this point. So this is 11 inches. So I'm going to cut my lining up to the 11-inch mark, and my last layer, that's the last circle, will go onto this point. So yes, this will just help us save a lot of fabric. So now I need to cut this lining, like I'll cut like an A-line skirt. And the reason why I'm cutting an A-line skirt is just to ensure that the skirt won't be tight underneath, so it can be easy for her to move in easily. So her hips is 10.5, like a quarter of her hips is 10.5 inches, but I'm going to make sure that I have at least 12 inches around her hips, just to make sure, you know, she has enough room to move. I'm going to pin this down so people can see better. So I'll close the dart completely because I created a dart here. So what I have here is 11, and I want it to be 12, remember? So I'm going to add an extra 12 here, and I want the lower part to be 13. What I have here currently is 11.5, so I'm going to add the extra 1.5 inches. And now, if you watch my tutorial on how to draft an A-line skirt, this will be really familiar. So if you want to understand better, you can go watch that. So I'm just going to connect this point to this point here, and connect it to this point here. So here, this place is going to serve as our band. Remember, I'm going to remove 1.5 inches from this for band. So I'm just going to connect it to this point here. Ignore all of this. I was trying out some things earlier, so that was what caused this. So now I'll connect it to this point here, and that is because the upper part needs to be firm for our band. So Now I'm just going to go in and finish off this edge nicely. Cut out our lining piece. Before I cut it out, I'll just go ahead and add my 1/2 inch seam allowance to the lower part because that is really necessary. Then I'll add 1/2 inch to this side as well. So now we can cut this out. Now I'm going to cut out this waistband, and now I'm going to add 1/2 inch up here because this will serve as allowance to join this piece back to our waistband. Now I'm going to cut this on the fold for the front and then cut 2 separate pieces of this for the back. But when cutting the back, don't forget to add your zip allowance because I did not add zip allowance here, so I have to make sure I remember. In fact, I'm going to write it down. So when you're cutting this on the back lining, don't forget to add your zip allowance. But before I do that, let's just finish up the waistband. So to finish up the waistband, we need to go in and add 1/2 inch of seam allowance underneath and 1/2 inch of seam allowance on top. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to cut 2 pieces of this, one for the outer band and one for the inner band. So that is why we need to add 1/2 inch of seam allowance on top, and then the 1/2 inch seam allowance underneath is what we're going to use to join it to the skirt. So for our band, I've added the 1/2 inch on top, at the bottom and by the side because we're going to need to join the front to the back. So I'm going to cut this on a fold for the front band. For the back band, I'm going to add my 1 inch zip allowance on one side and add even extra on the other side because that's the one that will go over with the hook and eye. So basically, just like what we have here, we'll need an extra to go over the other part. Now to determine the length of our tiers, we need to calculate something. So if you guys can notice, I have 2 lines on my skirt, and that first line is where I want the first tier to end, while the second line is where I want the second tier to end. Now I'm going to measure 1.5 inch above the first tier because this is where the second tier will start from, and we are doing this so that we can have adequate covering such that by the time we sew the second tier onto, the first tier will cover it adequately and you won't be able to see where the second tier is actually starting from. Now I'm going to do the same thing above where the second tier will end. So I will measure 1.5 inch above that point, and this is where the third tier will start from. So the third tier will start from that point and go all the way down and end underneath the lining such that it is covering the hem of the lining once the first tier joins it. So we're going to sew the first tier onto the hem of the lining. So to determine the length of my first tier, I'm going to measure from the waistline up to the first thick line and add 1/2 inch of sewing allowance to sew it onto the waistline and 1 inch of hemming allowance to hem it. And the second tier, I'm going to measure from that point above where the first tier will end and measure it all the way down to where the second tier will end. Add my 1/2 inch sewing allowance and 1 inch of hemming allowance. The third tier, I'm going to measure it from that mark where the third tier will start and measure it all the way down such that it is covering the hem of the lining by at least 1 inch. And for the fourth tier, we simply need to minus the length of our lining from the full length of our skirt, add 1/2 inch sewing allowance and 1 inch of hemming allowance. Now to determine the circumference, simply measure along the point where you are going to sew the tiers onto the lining, then multiply it by 4 and add 2 inches. The 2 inches will go into the center back zip allowance, so that is why you're adding 2 inches. So it's time to cut our tiers. Now for the first tier, my radius is 5.5 and my length is 4.5 inches. So I need to make sure that this is at least 10 inches. To get the radius, simply divide your circumference by 6.28. This will give you the radius of your circle. For a more detailed explanation on cutting circle skirts, I have a video on my channel, so I'll link it down below for you guys to watch. So now I'm just going to go in and mark my radius, which is 5.5, and the length is 4.5. So I'm going to add that 5.5 plus 4.5, that is 10. So I will just mark it at the same time, and this is easy because you can see this is the 4.5 that we need. So I'll just go mark 5.5 round and 10. So make sure to hold it at this point. So here we go. Now I'll go ahead and cut out the remaining 3 tiers. Okay guys, so we're done cutting. This is my lining, the inner piece, and I have my 4 tiers here. You can label it. I already labeled it, but you would definitely know which belongs to which, because the larger one belongs to the last, and the second largest the third, then the third largest the second, and the smallest one is the top. So these are the tiers. This is my lining front, and then the 2 back pieces, because we're going to need a zipper to go in between these back pieces. And then I have my waistband here. I've used interfacing onto all my waistband pieces. And then this here is my short piece. Remember, I'm going to have a short underneath this skirt, so the front and the back short. And guys, we have so much left over because, you know, you're cutting circles, so I ended up with like the circular pieces in the middle. And guess what guys, we are going to be making a bucket hat. I'm going to look for a way to make use of all these circles. So I'm going to most likely make a bucket hat, make a sun hat, make a bear, I don't know, man, I don't know, but the possibilities are endless. So make sure you keep this because it will come in really handy. And these are just the leftover pieces. So yes, now it's time to actually start sewing. Sewing it is actually really easy. Once you have all your pieces, it's just, you know, straight lines and stitches. So I'm going to start by sewing the front to the back. So the front lining to the back lining. So I'm just going to sew side seams together. And when sewing, I'm going to leave my middle seam open for now. So the next thing I'm going to do now is prepare my pants, the pants that will be on the inside. So I'm just going to sew the outer seam and the inner seam and the crotch together. I have a more detailed video on sewing pants on my channel, so I'll link it up so you guys can go watch if you like. So I'm done with the shorts, with the inner shirt. I didn't hold that because I'm just going to plait it to the right measurement. So I'm going to put this aside for now and work on this skirt. This is our lining, and you can see I already chalked basically the points where I need to start sewing from. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way to the top. But before I do that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hem the edges, because I think it will be easier that way. So I'll go ahead now and take in the 1 inch that we left around the edge and just hem it all around for the 4 tiers. So once I attach it, that's it. I don't have to start hemming after attaching. I just think it will make my life so much easier. So I've hemmed the edge of all 4 tiers. Just take your time. This is actually like, you just need to take your time and practice, and you know, hemming circles isn't always easy. I've hemmed it now, and I also opened up the middle. This is because it's going to go into the zip allowance, because remember, we're going to need a zip to get in and out of this skirt. I'm just going to place this, and I'm just going to sew this onto, look at this line I drew here. So I already marked where I want it to start from. So I've pinned it down, and I'll go ahead and sew it this way. So when we're done sewing it, it's going to turn and fall this way, and you won't be able to see the seam. So I'll do that now and show you guys the result. Then we'll go ahead and sew the rest. So the 3rd tier is done, and this is how it looks. You can see how nice it looks on the inside. So it just looks neat, all covered up this way. It's covering this up a lot, so there's no risk of the 4th layer showing from underneath this. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew the 2nd layer on. This is the 2nd layer. I will do exactly the same thing I did. So I'll place it on this way and just sew it, and by the time we're done, this will cover this nicely, and you guys can see you won't even know that it is lining that is under here. So I'll go ahead now and do this. So I've attached the second and third tier, and you can see this is what it looks like on the inside. This is covering this really nicely. I'm actually really excited about this and can't wait to see the result. And now I'm just gonna attach the first tier, which is the shortest tier. So I'll attach it up here, and you can see it's just gonna cover the second tier nicely. So I'll go ahead now do that, but for this I'm just gonna sew directly on top because the waistband is gonna go on top of this, so it will cover it up nice. So I'm done with the first, second and third tier. It's time to attach the very last tier onto the lining. I actually wanted to try a different method, but I don't think that will work, so I'm going to go ahead and attach it the same way I attached the first 3 tiers. So I'm gonna just attach this way and drop it this way. Can you guys see? So I'll use my 1/2 inch sewing allowance and attach it to the hem of the lining, and that's it for the 4th tiers. So our skirt is almost ready. I have the 4 tiers here, you guys can see, all nicely covered and looking really good. So now before I finish it up, I'm just gonna sew these pieces down to the lining, so it can be easy for me when it's time to attach the zipper. So I'll just sew it down. So I'll go ahead now, sew this down and trim it and then close it. So I'll close the 2 edges using my 1 inch zip allowance, so that we can actually attach the zip and then attach the waistband and finish up the skirt. So now I'll go ahead and join the center back seams together using my 1 inch seam allowance. Closing it at the back, I'm going to go ahead now and attach my zipper. So I'm just going to iron this down so it can be easy for me to, just know exactly where the zipper line is, and then I'll attach my zipper, making sure I leave about 1/2 inch on top above this stopper, because we'll need to attach our waistband on top of this. So after attaching my zip, before attaching the waistband, we're going to go ahead and insert this short into the skirt. So I'm just going to put it in this way, and the reason why I'm putting it this way is because you want it in such a way that if you open the skirt, is the good part of the shirt that is showing. So just put your short into your skirt, and now I'm going to basically sew this center back seam on this zip allowance that we left here. So I'm just going to fold it and just fold it twice and sew it this way. This isn't really necessary, but if you have an overlocker, you can overlock this edge and overlock this edge and just drop it, just sew it on top of the zip allowance. But because I don't have an overlocker and I want this seam to look nice, so I'm just going to fold it this way and sew it onto my zip and the seam allowance that is left here. So I'll do the same thing for the 2 sides, and once I'm done with that, I would sew this waistband, the trouser waistband, onto the skirt waistband. So the trouser waistband is a bit big because I didn't sew the dart, so I'm just going to pleat it in place until it is the same measurement with the skirt waistband, and then I will sew it together, and it's time to attach our waistband. So I'm done attaching the short on the inside, you can see, and I also sewed it around the waist, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So you can see, if you open it up, it's this nice short you're seeing. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach the waistband, which is the last piece of the puzzle. So I'll go ahead now and prepare my waistband. I also the side seams together using the 1/2 inch seam allowance that I left. I'll do the same for the second piece. So if you remember, I cut 2 each of the waistband because we're going to use this to turn the upper edge of this. So one will be the outer waistband and the other one will be the inner waistband. So I'll prepare the waistband now, then we will attach it to the skirt. So I've prepared my waistband, I've ironed it, and I'm going to go ahead and attach it now. So I'm going to attach the inner part first and then finish it up on the outside. You can also attach it on the outside, then finish it up on the inside with your needle and thread, so you don't have anything showing outside. But for this skirt, I don't mind having a seam outside because there are so many seams out already, so this is fine. So I'm going to attach it, start from the inside. So I'm going to start from here. I'll close this edge. So after sewing the inner waistband onto the wrong side of the garment, I'll go ahead and turn it. Now I'm going to finish up this end as well. If you want yours this long, you can leave it, but I'm going to cut this to about 2 inches. I think that's enough. This is too long, but I like to leave excess so I can adjust it as I want. Now I'll go ahead and finish up this edge as well. I'll sew it this way and just sew it up to this point where I'm going to start edge stitching from. So now I'm going to start to sew. I'll just sew it very close to the edge, really nice and neatly, and I'll sew the entire waistband. So guys, we're finally done with this skirt, and you guys can see it looks so pretty. I think it came out really nicely, even though like it's not my size, so the waist is a lot bigger, which is why I'm holding it. Yeah, so it's going to be like more fitted and even shorter on the real owner, so I think the shorter the better, really. And here is the short underneath, you can see. So even if the breeze does blow this, you're still protected because there's a short underneath. So let me know what you think of this skirt. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I can't wait to see your creations as well. So in the coming videos, I'll be making a sun hat with the scrap fabric that I had left from this project. So you should definitely hit the subscribe button and join the family, and turn on your notification bell so you get notified whenever I drop a new video. And that's it for today, guys. See you. Bye.